this is the most expensive graphics card ever created in the history of graphics cards. RTX 6000 Ada. Huh? Upcoming Blackwell RTX. What about us? Okay, to correct, this is the most expensive mainstream desktop graphics card ever created in the history of mainstream desktop graphics cards.
Thank you.
Hell, I wouldn't even call this graphics card mainstream anymore because this Astral 5090 OC costs a whopping almost 7,000 Singapore dollars. How the hell is that supposed to be mainstream? I think ASUS calls this Astral because either 1, they know about the astronomical price tag before it's gonna launch. 2, users will get astronomical results and effects when they use this graphics card. Or 3, you will see the stars and cosmos after you fork out your money to buy this super expensive graphics card. Anyway, with a price tag like this, what kind of performance can you actually get from this monster? Well, I can only say the 5090 is a true powerhouse. It comes with almost 3.6K AI TOPS. It is the first mainstream GPU to feature more than 20,000 CUDA cores, has a 512-bit memory interface, as well as a 28GB per second memory speed. The 5090 boosts up to 2580 MHz on default, and it can go up to 2610 MHz if you overclock it. And the main star of the show, it is also the first mainstream GPU to feature 32GB of GDDR7 video memory. I have paired this 5090 with the Intel Core Ultra 9 285K and tested both without any overclocking and on the standard fan curves. With the 5090's out-of-the-box settings, on 2K Ultra without ray tracing and DLSS, the 5090 is about 23 FPS faster than the 5080 and at least 50 FPS faster than the 4080. We also see similar performances on 4K. The 5090 is also 20 FPS faster than the 5080 and 50 FPS faster than the 4080. Next, let's turn on ray tracing to push this 5090 further. On the 4K RT Ultra without the magic buttons, I was surprised to see that the 5090 put out plus minus 20 FPS faster than the 5080 and the 4080. I know the 5090 is powerful, but this is awesome. Almost 60 FPS without the magic buttons. You know what? Let's help out the 4080 and the 5080 by turning on DLSS quality. Even with DLSS on, the 4080 did not manage to put out 60 FPS on 4K Ray Tracing Ultra. The 5080 performed better with 65 FPS and the 5090 sailed through with almost 90 FPS. Okay, so how about Ray Tracing Overdrive on Cyberpunk 2077? Needless to say, the 5080 and 4080 tried to put up a strong fight to be playable, at least on 2K without the magic buttons. The 5090 also surprised me here. It managed to put out 60 FPS without the AI magic buttons. On 4K with the same setting, the competitions are no longer playable, while the 5090 became a cinematic 30 FPS. To help these three cards, I'm going to turn on DLSS quality. With this first AI edition, all three graphics cards each gain an additional 30 FPS over the previous setting. On 4K RT Overdrive with DLSS quality, the three cards are each 20 FPS faster than without DLSS turned on. So it seems like the 5090 does not need any form of frame generation, at least for Cyberpunk 2077. But let's just see how it performs when we have frame gen turned on. At 2K RT Ultra with the base frame gen, which is 2 times for the 5090 and 5080, the 4080 puts out an impressive 168 FPS, with the 5080 20 FPS faster and the 5090 shooting past them with 240 FPS. And as I turn on the next levels of multi-frame generation, it enables the 5080 to put out up to more than 300 FPS. Not to be outdone, the 5090 already puts out more than 300 FPS on 3 times frame gen and increases another 100 FPS with 4 times frame generation. We also see similar performance on 4K RT Ultra with frame gen turned on. Comparing between 2K and 4K, there's a distinct 80 FPS difference on the base frame gen across all three cards. However, with 3 times and 4 times frame gen, there's a bigger difference of 100 FPS for the 5080 and 5090 between 4K and 2K. And to finish it up, we have our final gaming hurdle, which is RT Overdrive. Frame generation enables even the 4080 to put out a comfortable 60 FPS on this really challenging setting. The 5080 is 10 frames faster, while the 5090 is really powerful here, over 100 FPS. And with 3 times and 4 times frame generation, the 5080 can go up to almost 130 FPS, with the 5090 concluding with over 200 FPS on this really tough setting. Very impressive showing from all 3 cards, especially this 5090 Astral. The next generation ray tracing cores and the over 20,000 CUDA cores really cements the 5090 as a really powerful mainstream productivity GPU. It puts out more than 15,000 VPUFs on the V-Ray RTX benchmark compared against the 80 models score of less than 10,000. However, Blender was a more interesting one. The 5090 is definitely more powerful than the 5080 and 4080. There was a gap of 1K plus points on the junk shop and classroom tests. There's a much bigger 3,000 point gap on the Monster benchmark. Could a high amount of CUDA cores on the 5090 have a much bigger role in the Monster benchmark? If any of you tech people have any information about this, do write them down in the comments below. When you have very impressive performance numbers, you also got to have a very impressive design or a very unique design to go along with it. How am I actually supposed to describe this 5090 Astral? This is a new tier of graphics cards from ASUS. While it still lies in the ROG range, the Astral lineup sets it apart from the other lineups. The main big feature is the use of 4 fans, 3 for intake and 1 for exhaust. Unlike the one from Gigabyte, you don't have to install and wire it, but I don't see a way to control it separately from the 3 intake fans. Yes, FYI, the exhaust fan also uses reverse fan blades. I can safely say that these 4 fans are close to almost silent, even when I ran them hard with Blender and Cyberpunk 2077. I did not pick up anything in particular because all of the noise that may have came from the 5090 was drowned out by the CPU cooler. And the 4 fans do a good job to cool the 5090. While it does have a higher average and max than both the 5090 and 4080, it still operated at the 60°C range on Blender and even on Cyberpunk's RT overdrive setting. However, if you want to cool this GPU even further, you can also install 2 more DC or PWM fans with these 2 fan headers at the front. These 2 additional fans can act as 2 more intake fans to draw in more fresh air from the bottom, or 2 more exhaust fans to work together with the exhaust fan on the graphics card. And you can also sync the fans directly with the graphics card and tune them to work better with both the CPU and the GPU. But personally, I felt that there wasn't much of a temperature difference when I included 2 140mm chassis fans using these 2 fan headers. It could be because I was testing it in an open environment, or I did not actually sync the fans with the graphics card. And because I didn't have much time with it, it is now inside this guy, I won't be able to show it. And yes, I'm also not able to test the dual BIOS on the 5090. So going back to the design of this card, let's not forget about the awesome looking external fan housing. As I have said earlier, the design is really unique. It uses a sleek, mostly black and gunmetal grey block with a few cutouts, which I think is either for design or it works as additional exhaust holes and layers to separate the heatsink from the external fan housing. The separation is further enhanced with the different colors on the fan area as well as the fan housing. The 5090 Astral is a big, thick card. It is almost 4 slots and it is very heavy. While the actual PCB is only this thick and shorter, the cooling system which lies on top of the PCB is a lot thicker. But the main bulk of the 5090 lies in the external fan housing. So please use the graphics card support that came with the card or whatever graphics card holder that you are going to get when you install this card inside your PC build. Other aesthetics wise, besides the black-white colors, ASUS chose to keep this 5090 Astral OC simple. There's an ARGB LED strip on the front with hints of the ROG icons on the fence area as well as below the LED strip. You can change the color of the LED strip using Armoury Crate. There are 5 output ports on this 5090 Astral. 3 of them are DisplayPort 2.1b and the other 2 are HDMI 2.1b. All of these are definitely nice. However, I will need to let you know how much power this 5090 Astral consumes. On Blender, it averages about 370 watts with a max of almost 400 watts. It draws about 150 watts to 170 watts more than the 5080 and the 4080. But it doesn't stop there. In Cyberpunk 2077, the 5090 uses a whopping 440 watts to 450 watts, topping it off at 460 watts on RT overdrive. That's really a lot of power. ASUS recommends a 1000 watt power supply for this graphics card. a 1000-watt power supply is good enough if you pair this GPU with something like a 9800X 3D or something that uses more power like the new 9950X 3D. However, if you went with an Intel CPU such as the Intel Core i9 285K or even something like a 4900K, it is better to have more power headroom, especially if you're going to push this CPU and GPU at the same time with heavier workloads. And of course, do not forget about the massive price tag this 5090 Astral commands. I did say it costs about 6,000 to 7,000 Singapore dollars, but I also found a retailer that listed it at more than 10,000 Singapore dollars. Wow, damn. And yes, on a side note, it has found a new home, which is this PC, which I will talk about in another video. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, I am not sure if this card is made for most mainstream users. Sure, if you have the money to throw, you can buy this 5090 Astral or any other 5090s that you can get your hands on. It blows any competition out of the water, but for the price, man, I don't even know. But I guess if you are a really serious creator who wants to game on the side, the firepower that this 5090 Astral or any other 5090 will definitely give you a big edge for your creation, making your creations, processors and systems run better and more efficiently. This is probably more so if a design company or a small business buys this card for their creations without having the need to spend so much more on the RTX 6000 ADA generation or the upcoming Blackwell AI graphics cards. Alright, this pretty much sums up what I am going to say about this 5090 Astral. I know a bunch of you have already purchased this card, so write down in the comments if you're one of them. Or if you're not one of them, write down in the comments if you are planning to buy one or you just don't want to care about it at all. Anyway, if you like this video, watch my review of the 5080 and catch you in the next video.